Good afternoon on what is a cool, bright and sunny day. It is Friday the 16th of September. I have a nice cup of tea and a big box of parcels to go through and continue unboxing. So I'm going to continue with this large box. Now what I have pulled out of here is this. This is the classic Pocket Box Games bundle from Steve Jackson Games, and it contains a number of different games: Undead, Necromancer, Raid and Iran, One Page Bulge, Kung Fu 2100, and Awful Green Things. So the list is there, and these are all reprints of early pocket games, mini games that Steve Jackson Games published in the early 80s, and they've been long out of print. Originally they would have appeared in sort of like Ziploc bags, and then they would have gone through Ziploc bags and then the little clamshell cases. I mean, you would have seen with things like Illuminati and Car Wars and Truck Stop and Sully Drivers and so on, all those tiny little games. I mean, the thing is, Steve Jackson Games wasn't the only publisher of these small games back in the day. You also had meta games before Steve Jackson Games, things like Rivets and Black Hole and so on. Quite a large number of mini box kind of wargaming style things, but also role-playing games like Melee and Wizard, which Steve Jackson Games would then ultimately republish. Task Force Games did Starfire and Castle Falkenberg, and then TSR did Saga and so on. All of these different little mini games that were sort of kind of pocket friendly back in the day. So what's inside this box? Well, it's this lot. So I have already pulled out titles like Raid on Iran and Kung Fu 2100, and I've done unboxings of some of these so far. So I've done unboxings of these. So there's 8 in the box. So the next one is a Necromancer, a fantasy game for 2 players. You can barely read that, and it says on the back, this reproduction, a classic returns. This reproduction was created with the best copy of the original that we could find. Every component was painstakingly scanned, touched up, and reproduced in a form as near identical to the original game as we could manage. Includes retro-style rules, map, counter sheets, as well as a second set of die-cut counters. So I'll show you what that means in a minute, but here's what it says on the back. Okay. Includes an alternate cover sticker featuring the second printing artwork apply to the Necromancer box or apply to the empty box. So that's all the cover sheet. So I'm going to get a knife and slice this open. Now I'm going to be a bit careful here, and the cellophane is going to come off easily, but the boxes themselves are a little bit difficult to open, because, for example, when I opened that, okay, I drew blood, which is amusing in a game, you know, where you're dealing with the undead. The armies of the undead. The rocks of the valley were cruel, but the soldiers made no complaint. Indeed, few of them had voices with which to protest. The wizard's troops were beyond the pain or fear of death. They were already dead. Necromancer is a fantasy game for 2 players. Each player becomes a necromancer, a powerful wizard controlling the forces of the undead. As their skeletons and zombies battle, the necromancers use their powers to take control of enemy units. The goal to find the mystic jewels of power and destroy the enemy necromancer. A unique combat system varies the power of a player's troops according to the number of units he controls. The more undead you control, the weaker each unit is. All counters are backprinted since any unit may change sides. Game components include a colourful 11x17-inch game map, 112 two-sided counters, 24 pages of rules, a Ziploc bag to store the counters in, and the plastic pocket box. Game designed by Alan Varney, 2019 reproduction. Now the box itself is sturdy. I've already, all of these I've gone, so nice and steady. So here comes the difficult bit, which is opening the box without injuring myself again. And of course, yes, I'm using a sharp implement. So we have to be a bit careful here. So just get open. There we go. Making sure I'm doing that away from me. Okay, and now it's open. So what we've got inside is that. Hope you can see that through the rays of sunshine coming through from the foliage behind me. So you have Ziploc bag for your counters. See it, there we go. 2 6-sided dice with the classic eye in the pyramid symbol from Steve Jackson Games. Then we have the rules. I'll come back to those in a moment. Here's the map. So this is not a one-page game. You do get a map area. So you've got the barren hills and valleys and so on through which you're going to battle. That's quite self-contained. You actually have, of all things, a notebook. I don't know what the notebook's for, but it's got the cover artwork for the game on it. That's quite nice. And then you've got the 2 sets of counters. So you've got the black on white, and then you've got the red on the white. Okay, because of that, they're designed to be meant to be interchangeable. Below that, we have the original set of counters, and you'd have to cut these out, but the die cut counters obviously means you don't have to now. And you've got a I've got a visitor in the form of the cat who is not ours. Let's take an interest in what I've got. Let's see if I'll sit down. So you've got the sticker here as well. That goes on the cover of the box if you want it to. Nice addition. And then you've got a bit of advertising. This is the catalogue from. I don't know actually when this is from. If it's going to fold out. Oh, it's okay. This is sort of from the mid to late 80s. Okay, because you've got an advert for Steve Jackson Games man-to-man supplement for GURPS. One of the first few GURPS supplements. GURPS being the sort of like the most well-known role-playing game Steve Jackson has published sort of like numerous, probably hundreds of supplements for it. A lot of them are really very readable and informative. So yes, I've got a visitor in the form of a cat who is not ours. Some attention. Yes, you do. See if he'll settle down. So here are the rules. Let's have a look. What does it say? So essentially, you've got the. Oh, he's going to go. So, there we go. He's going to go sit in the sun. So you've got the general instruction, the game explaining what it's about, going over terrain there, and breaking down the counters. And then going into how the game is played. And then movement, and then one particular, obviously the big feature of the game is converting enemy units. I mean, you can't think of a game. I mean, there are going to be games out there that do that, but I can't think of a game that does that as an actual feature. So then we have sort of basically a combat results table, a search table, because obviously you're searching for the jewels of power. Fixed unit abilities, conversion table with variable unit abilities, because you've got this thing where you have the fewer units you have, the more powerful they are. The more units you have, the less powerful they are individually. So you have to keep a kind of balance between that throughout the play. So that's the charts and table. Table. I would have liked that to be separate. Actually, that would have been nice. But you know. So just general rules. And then dealing with the miasma of sort of like the fog of battle presumably the fog that the wizards can bring down over the fields of the undead, and then discussion of the jewels of power. And then we look at various scenarios you can play using the game. Standard, you can have essentially where you just battle each other. New players start with that scenario, and then a conversion scenario where you can go back and forth. So there's only a couple of scenarios, but we've got optional rules there as well, and various magical items, such as an extra jewel, an apprentice, mercenaries, dragons, ring of flight, crystal balls, magic swords, and the like. I would have liked probably one more, another couple of scenarios or so on, just the two, because essentially what you've got is the basic game for the introduction for new players and the standard game. But yeah, that's Necromancer. Quite plain rules, but all nicely packaged within the box. Put everything away. So yeah, I mean, these things are a piece of history, piece of gaming history, and they've kind of been, I think they've kind of been forgotten over time, apart from people who were around at the time. And to have them come back, it's got a nice piece of nostalgia and sort of like introduce gamers of today to the games of the past, which obviously haven't always been available. You can track them down. You can't necessarily get them in the condition that you want, but having them in nice new conditions, as sort of like nice little filler games and taste of the past. This is another nice addition to the range. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here, with a parcel from which technically I'll actually unbox a box and then unbox a game, but it might also be a book instead, and talk about it to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea. Then please do hit the subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.